we have to be more keen than we require to be to understand a subtle thing in our life. And once we understand these subtle things, our 90% of misery is absolutely gone, vanished. And it is only possible with only limited number of people, because they have understood the life with the closed eyes, scanning it, that they have almost 90% minimized their suffering. Therefore we call them saint, therefore we call them Gautam Buddha, therefore we call them some gurus. So therefore it is said that why we should not pick their books, their ideas, which is available, right? Once you read that books or these ideas, we learn how we can implement in our routine life, and how we can gain the same results. When I'm going to have some conversation with somebody with whom you can say having a bad relationship, or a relationship is on a tightrope, right? So what happens actually, and what works in this situation is that the other person or the person across is not willing to listen to them patiently. Right. They're always on the reacting mode. Obviously. Right. And this reaction doesn't help them to listen to that person, to hear that person out. And they don't understand their perspective. Right. They don't understand their point of view, right, from which they are speaking. And this makes the matters worse, right? Person becomes better when his perception about self-awareness is strong. As long as you know yourself in all phases of your life, while you are reacting to a certain actions of other, you are always in a better position. So if you say that you are negative inside, it is also a result of self-awareness. At least you know that you are negative inside, which means the next step from you is to anyhow practice on it and remove it. People have got some spiritual element in them, and that's what keeps them grounded. You might have seen those people who are very successful. They always keep themselves grounded because they know that this is not gonna be there forever. Right. Times maybe they maybe have some difficult times, right? And then they may taste some success as well. Again, this may happen, right? So they don't believe that this is gonna be there forever, and they don't feel, even though they are going through some tough times, but they are keeping themselves composed, right? Yes, Robin. It's been seen that when people find themselves to be shattered, completely shattered, they always find it difficult to raise themselves, to bring themselves back into the normal, path which they were on. So, what I believe is when life feels heavy, when you find yourself to be stuck, and when you think that you are not progressing anymore, and you are not doing what excites you, then I think there is time when you can fix this. And this is really important because, as we know that this negative frame of mind can hold us back. And if we want to progress, if we want to make the most of this life which we have got at our disposal, it's really important for us to fix what is wrong in our life. So before we go deeper into it, I want you to say to the audience that what it is all about. I mean, what do you mean by fixing yourself before you shatter? Okay, I think we now are in such a phase of life where we have a lot of pressures, and due to this pressure, sometimes it happens that we are likely to apart, especially. I mean, just because of too much of responsibilities, which is unbearable most of the time, and people not being able to cope with these kinds of responsibility. At the end of the day, they have to take a certain decisions, right? Anyhow, some people who are clever enough, they can deal it nicely, but some people, which is large number, are not especially very effective in taking decisions, in dealing with these kinds of issues, and they succumb to this, right? So people who believe in fixing up their life, uh, they basically do a certain practices in their life which is called self introspection, and they try to deal everything at a very minute level. One thing which is very clear about these people is that they are observant more than experiencing. And this is what is the major quality in these people. So the discussions we are now going to have is all about the a significance of practice of fixing certain problems in our life and how to cope with these and how these fixing up attitude this can be really effective and help us overcome all those difficulties and chaos turmoil of our life. Yes. Okay, so what I believe is that if we want to fix what is wrong in our life, then it's not going to happen just by observing the entire world, right? It's about asking yourself. It's about uh, drawing yourself inward and try to know what is wrong and what caused that to be there in your life. Right. Because there are certain problems which happen because of certain reasons. Right. And so identifying those reasons can help you know the source, and then you can fix it because now you know the source. For example, when you go to a doctor, so what does the doctor do? He simply tries to identify. Simply they see the symptoms and then they prescribe. Right. If they don't know the symptoms, they ask you what's happening and how long has it been happening. Then you respond to them and they then identify that this is the problem and then I should be prescribing certain medicines and then you will be you will be okay. In the similar fashion, if we know what is causing problems to us and we also know the source that has caused it, then it's quite easy for us to fix that. Well, no, that's something which is wrong. So the thing which we have to talk about is tell me, uh, let's talk about self-repair through small actions. Because we think of taking some big steps and doing something bigger. And somebody said that the things which are you are doing on regular basis and consistently, no matter how small they are, but they can turn you into a success, right? So we should be taking small and steady steps. Baby steps, and this is something which can help us reach where we are desiring us to be. So first thing you have to tell me is that how can a person identify what one habit knowingly what bad habit they should be leaving and how can they leave or kick that habit? Okay, say we are specifically trying to understand a situation where a person who is already in trouble, and now it's a time to find out a right solution to overpower that or to overcome that problem. The best thing about this, or you can say the best learning, it could be for people, is this, and it is hardly practiced by the way. And what it is that people today often strive for some solutions which I think are not easily accessible. And instead of approaching this kind of solution, I think people must be composed enough so that they could search for the same solutions nearby them. See, I always believe, and many people whom I have read so far have a belief that solution is always near you. All you have to do just to find it out. You don't need to approach anyone, anywhere. All the solution, problems yes, comes with all the problems come with a solution. With a solution. So you have to be a little bit keen observant because the problem has itself a solution. But the problem with the people is that they get really panic, they become super hyper, and in this very exaggeration, they somehow miss this very opportunity, this very keen sight, which is really important. So we have seen very composed and calm minds often have solution, and in fact, we have observed quite a lot those people who really suffer a lot in their life often strive or approach all these composed souls, all these mahatma, to just help them find out the solution. They possibly can do the same thing what you yourself can do for you. I just give you one example. I mean, for example, you might have heard this very fight and flight situations these days. The common problem in relationship is that is strandness in relationship. Now relationship is getting weaker and it is being broken on easy, on very trivial issues. Now people are trying to solve out these relationship issues or matrimonial issues, taking this issue at a higher level of discussion. And they are involving three, four more than people in that discussions, and all that things are even making this situation or more complex and intricate, nearby, not nearby, around to be solved it out, right? Now, if these people have this very keen sight and be a little bit observant, I believe they would choose to have a direct contact or a discussion with that person with whom the relationship is not going good, right? And just with a mere communication or transaction of few words, I think the solutions might be there. But we are not doing that. We are always in a flight mode rather than fight here. It means that to talk with the partner so that these talks might find a certain solutions, right? So I always believe that solution is always there with you, and all you need to do just to be very, very keen, observant, and be very much conscious about all these little opportunities that you have. But one thing which is very sure is that if you always be so much of panic and super hyper, okay, and not able to find out, then I think the situations, are likely to happen in your life.
You simply want to say that when I'm going to have some conversation with somebody with whom you can say having a bad relationship or a relationship is on a tightrope, right? So what happens actually and what works in this situation is that the other person or the person across is not willing to listen to them patiently.
Right.
They're always on the reacting mode.
Obviously.
Right. And this reaction doesn't help them to listen to that person, to hear that person out. And they don't understand their perspective.
Right.
They don't understand their point of view
Right.
from which they're speaking. And this makes the matters worse, right? So you simply want to say that when you are sitting with somebody to have some kind of conversation just to resolve the matter, right? Then you should be listening to that person instead of reacting. Once you are able to listen to them, then you will actually be able to listen to the whole situation, and then you'll understand
Right.
that why this person is the way he is or she is, and this will give you the clear picture, and then
Obviously.
you easily decide, right? The next thing which we have to discuss, even when I was always confused that why do I always find myself to be completely uncomfortable when I speak in front of good gathering, right? So I would just listen to people that how can I fix this problem of mine? I would listen to them, but everybody says, no, from their, they always talk about things which they have experienced and which they have done, and then they talk about all those things.
Right.
But doesn't matter, those things are gonna help you because your problem is different.
Right.
Theirs were different. Situations were different, the experiences are different, even everything is different. Your
Absolutely.
education is different. So I couldn't understand a simple thing that if I allow myself some time to reflect and practice whatever I've done. I mean, if I'm going on learning but not practicing it, not expressing myself, then do you think I will ever become confident? It's impossible. So then what I did, simple solution which I you can say which I applied in my life. I mounted the podium and I made a promise to myself that I would start delivering one morning thought every day. And this really helped me a lot to overcome all that stage fear, fright and all. So simply when we look around and we just think a bit deeper, we go a bit deeper, then we find out that such solutions are all there, but we need to open up to those solutions which are already existing. The next thing I would ask you is tell me how our actions build confidence, because to be able to make yourself believe in something, you should be confident enough.
Right.
If you are somewhere doubtful about your own self, then how can you be taking those positive, actions? So how can your consistent actions turn into your confidence? How can they help you become confident?
Okay, let's understand it in simple words. Our actions are just mere reflections of our thoughts, right? So whatever the thoughts our mind holds is basically translated into actions. So our actions cannot be separated from thoughts. It is just a reflection of our thoughts. Now, being human, we have to be a little bit careful about this, that whatever we think, we have a purpose. Okay, whatever we think. Okay, and whatever we think, we want to a certain objective from that thought, right? It is impossible to extract result just from your thought without putting that thought into action. So your action has to be very there on the ground, right? Without action, your thought cannot be, translated in an action, which means that if you have a thought, you have to put into action.
Action, yes.
Otherwise, it is not going to produce any result, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, the question comes in as you asked me how one could be confident through actions. Now, remember, which is very common and which is quite a natural rule. You can call a rule of nature. As long as our thoughts are good enough, our intentions are good enough, I believe that the action, which is just a reflection of those thoughts, will always be positive.
Yeah.
Now, the problem which we often, commit is that we want recognition. We want acknowledgement of our actions. This is the problem with all of us. So even when I am doing certain thing which is absolutely right on the standard parameters, morally absolutely fit, ethically absolutely fit, but still I'm seeking for a certain kind of people's acknowledgement. Now, if I don't get acknowledgements to my that action, however that action is good and consistent with all those moral rules, I'm not going to be satisfied at all.
Yes.
This is the problem with most of the people. So your action only brings confidence only when you're confident about your actions. And your confidence should not be, I think, governed by the acknowledgements of other. Because all the people cannot share the same experiences of their
Yes.
life.
That's
All the people cannot have a share, life pattern, their thought, their ideas. People have their different needs. People have their different definitions about the different concepts of life. For example, what education to me, higher education to me, is that to be going in abroad and having a good education there. But if you ask someone who doesn't have, two times food, for him the education may mean only that their kids to be there in some sort of local school, irrespective of whether the teachers are regular there in the school or not.
Yes.
So the definition of education, the definition of morality, the definition of ethics actually are governed by different perspectives of life and different lifestyles of life. So most of the people, most of the saints have already said it, and they are saints just not because of they have done certain things, but they have actually analyzed things very keenly. They have observed things very keenly. And one of those things which I'm sharing now is this, that you have to be confident about your action, irrespective of how many people like your action or not.
Yeah.
Secondly, your action must not be, you know, held, comparative with the current definition of success. This is really important.
Yeah, this is
I think this is becoming the root cause of problem for many people. If I'm not earning well, and if I have great thoughts,
And
I'm leading my
good enough.
I'm not good enough. My projection in the society, my presentation in the society, my presence in the society would not be taken with that much of sincerity, with that much of respect. And that what really pinches a lot. Being human, yes, we feel that. But once you bring yourself a little bit above this very idea, if you are a great reader, or if you have meet up with some good context or the text of great writers, then you understand that wherever you are, it's your rightful position. All you need to do is just to do a little justification with that position, and that's all.
I mean, when I want people to validate whatever I do and whatever I say, then it simply means that are those people welcoming my ideas?
Right.
If they welcome, if all these things I do fit in with those people, fit in with the society, they will be accepting it. If somewhere this goes against their principles, their ideologies, then I will not be actually a nice person, and I will not be accepted in the society and by those people. So, as you know, when somebody says that I like you, so they're simply saying that that you are doing what they think you're doing.
Obviously.
Right? And once I stop doing what they ask me to, then I will be the worst person for them. So they're simply saying that means when they say I like you, that I like this person because this person of use to me. This person is somebody who makes me feel special.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's this very habit of people to do ingratiation with people for gaining some favor is what makes people feel that, right?
Yeah.
So they want to just gain a certain favor, and therefore they keep ingratiating with others.
Yeah.
So this is what is the major, problem with the people.
Yeah. One more thing I would love to ask you that how can a person gain self-respect? Because to be able to become successful or to be able to elevate yourself to some degrees, you should have some self-respect for yourself. Ultimately, um, there is, some kind of sense of self-respect. If you don't have that, if you have lost that, even people don't give you some good regard.
Right.
Because you yourself are degrading yourself.
Hmm.
Then how can other people accept you?
Right.
So how can a person gain
Hmm.
that self-respect? Because when people find their failure, they lose their self-respect for themselves. So how can a person regain that self-respect through these actions?
Yes. I think the very concept of self-respect is a way, difficult. Difficult for those who have understood this, definition of respect in their own manner. And this is what is causing a major problem. I mean, respect to oneself simply means a step to be doing a certain thing which is exactly consistent with those standard of society, right? Now, this is what exactly I mean. So when I say I believe in taking respect and giving respect, so when I say respect to me, it means is that I want a certain behavior from people, what I actually give to other. This is as simple as this, right? So if you are not behaving well with people, your opinion about people is very low, or you treat people badly, right? So you cannot expect good treatment to you. You cannot expect some sort of king size kind of treatment to be given to you or served to you, right? They are not subjects to us. So first of all, we have to learn things. I mean, from our personal experiences. I think this is very crude, and I think very hollow when people say that I want to have a good respect or I want to be known in a society. I always want, what's your opinion about people?
Yes.
How do you treat others? I mean, this may be, I mean, seen as just a common, idea or a common discussion, but in literal term, if you ask, even people being nice to you on your face, maybe out of fear, out of apprehension, there might be several such reasons. You might be a really influencing person or influencer in a society. You may have a certain kind of criminal background. I mean, these things are enough to, subdue anyone. Now, out of this, kind of fear, may people will definitely, give you respect. But is it really respect?
No. This is
Obviously,
out of your
this is out of fear.
reputation, out
This
of the wealth, and out of the name you have in the society.
respect simply happens at your psychological level, right? Even I am behaving nicely to you or not being very, soft to you, right, on matters. But how do I think about you here is what that matters a lot,
Yes.
right? Because that what forms a true society. That basically is the foundation of society. Our society has been weakened not just because of we are not doing great things, but because of we have become so shallow in our approach to people. We become so fake, especially in our gestures, in our conduct towards people. So I may be talking nicely to you, just giving you a great, feeling. But what I feel inside about you is that what matters a lot.
Yes.
Right? So I think self-respect, I think doesn't matter a lot. And in fact, what I have learned from these Gen Z, these people are very open. If you just observe these people are very open. These 19, 20-year-old girls and boys, they are very open. First of all, they really don't care about self-respect. Whatever they have in their mouth, they are very outspoken. They really don't care about it. The best thing about is that they believe in their actions. I mean, this is really important. They believe in their action, and they believe that their actions are very consistent with a certain kind of objective which they want to, I mean, induce from that. They want to extract from it, right? So that kind of clarity, if we start having, I don't think we will even require this very respect from other. because then we will learn that it's all okay what people think about us, as long as we know we are absolutely right on our path.
So what I'm trying to ask you is, suppose a person who has failed and they want to fix the things which have happened in their lives, and they just want to regain that confidence, regain that self-respect which they had themselves. How can a person who is completely broken will start having the same self-respect which they had? Because somewhere, these failures, these setbacks which you suffer from, they deteriorate, or you can say they worsen your your self-respect. So how can they regain that self-respect
I
for themselves?
see. I mean, a person first of all needs to be a little bit spiritually awakened right in the beginning. Remember, I have seen those people are true success in the society. You will find a little bit spiritual element in their conduct. And what is that spiritual element? That they though seem to be doing good things, they though seem to be doing hard work, but at the same time they are not attached with their work. What it means is that they are taking relish as long as they are busy in their
They're
work.
enjoying the process.
Yes, they are enjoying the process. They don't care about the result. If they get result, if they achieve result, well and good. But at the same time, they are not going to be sad upon losing the same result. So the question that you asked, what happens with those category of people who, after reaching to a certain phase of their life, to reach to the acme of their career, and just all of a sudden they just come down to the ground, then how they could cope with this situation, how they could regain their. I think those people who have learned this very basic, it's not a basic thing, it's a foundational part of human life. Rarely people could practice in this, but I still believe those who are true success, for example, Tata, I can include in this, Ratan Tata ji, and many others. So those who know this value and those who have really hard worked a lot in their life, they have actually, just rose to that point from ground. They always believe that they can do it multiple times. The more they come down to the floor, they will have the power to go back to the position again. They have that confidence. But remember, this world is full of fakeness, hollowness. People are shallow in their approaches. Today's people become success overnight. And this overnight success, brings.
It will be a flash in the pan.
Yes, flash in the pan, right? So they gain overnight success, and this overnight success attaches them with the result.
Yeah.
These people cannot, just stand up again, right, in this situation. So we have to be a little bit spiritually enlightened in this way, and then we can do this.
So they can rise like a phoenix from the ashes.
Obviously.
Right. So one thing you mentioned that these people have got some spiritual element in them, and that's what keep them grounded. You might have seen those people who are very successful. They always keep themselves grounded because they know that this is not gonna be there forever.
Right.
Times maybe they maybe have some difficult times, right? And then they may taste some success as well. Again, this may happen, right? So they don't believe that this is gonna be there forever, and they don't feel, even though they are going through some tough times, but they are keeping themselves composed, right? The next thing which we have to talk about it, tell me how people can learn to stabilize their minds, because our minds, they're just like machines. And this machine never stops. This is always going, and this is always running. But to be able to become focused, to have some, one pointed concentration on things you're doing, you need to stabilize the mind. So how can people learn to stabilize their minds? Because somewhere, if you are able to, you can say, if you are able to control this machine, if you're able to command this machine, it is just like computer machine, you can say. You need to, or it's like software, you need to give some commands to produce the exact results you want. So if you don't know the command, if you don't know how to make it work, then it's quite impossible for you to get the results. So how can people stabilize their minds in these turmoil, in this turmoil, as you know that today's world is
right.
full of ups and downs.
See, I think some years back I was into a practice of meditation. And as I heard about meditation, that meditation helps people to control their minds. So you are talking about confusion. I mean, if I'm to define what confusion is, then it would be defined in this way, that when you have a thought which is at center, but then you can just start, encountering with multiple of thoughts distracting you from that thought which was at center. This is called confusion. Yeah. Right? So our mind is full of thoughts. It is having relentless process of thought, right? So confusion arises only when you have a lot of thoughts just arising at the same time, and you are being distracted from the very point where you started. Now, if you start with meditation, see, I don't say that meditation doesn't work, but it depends how do you meditation.
How intensified your meditation process is.
Yes, I need, I really like the very concept of Jiddu Krishnamurti, a famous philosopher. I really like his concept. What he talks about meditation is itself energy consuming, time consuming process, which means is that when you focus on yourself, it's itself a conflicting mode, isn't it? For example, I'm trying to focus myself, and the purpose for focusing is that I want to be centered at a particular point, and at the same time, I have to be very careful and conscious that other thoughts should not overpower me. Yes. So this is self-conflicting mode. As long as you are in a self-conflicting mode, you cannot achieve that very peace.
One more thing, this is very contradictory. Your mind is always, generating thoughts.
Yes,
and you're trying to
suppressing those thoughts.
Suppressing those thoughts and fixing it on, or focusing on one particular, image or mantra or whatever it is.
Yes, it will consume a lot of energy. Yeah. And as long as it consumes a lot of energy, you cannot be in peace. It is impossible. So he defined this thing in certain way, and it is really practical. So what you can do, yes, you can do a meditation. Then what kind of meditation we can do? Yes, of course. Now you have to bring a little bit change in this meditation. What is that? Is that if you have a thought which you want to put it into practice in the form of action, this is a major priority, but other thoughts are just bothering you. So what you can do with these other thoughts, you have to be just witnessing other thoughts. Witnessing means you have to just witness that thought. You have to be just don't react
on it. You don't
Yes.
have to act on it.
Yes, don't react, don't act, just witness that thoughts. After a certain time, what you will find that these thoughts which were arising so rapidly in multiple way, this will start fading away automatically. So you have to be an experiencer, not you have to be witnesser, or you have to just witness that thought. You have to be just observant. You don't need to act on it. So this is just a practice. See, I don't say that people who do that and gain benefits just overnight practice. It is impossible. You have to practice it, and you have to practice it throughout. What Gautam Buddha says is the same thing.
He took 7 years. First, he kept wandering for 7
Yes,
years.
7 years.
And then he sat under the Buddha tree for 6 years.
For 6 years.
Then
13
he
years.
got that enlightenment.
So what he, at the end of his entire rigorous practice, made the final words. He said that you cannot meet up with the enlightenment, what you call the eternal peace, by putting yourself into hardship. Your body is into your hardship cannot help you to just touch that acme of the point of life.
Even when he started fasting, his body, became very emaciated.
Very emaciated. Yeah. That it is said about him that his backbone can be felt through just putting the finger
through
his
abdomen. Into skeleton.
Yes, completely turned to be an skeleton body. So one thing is very clear: you cannot meet up with that peace by pressurizing yourself into this hardship. See, going against the body will can never give you result. But does it mean that we have to accept that will? No. What you can do instead of it, you can just witness everything happening around it.
And you have to train it.
बस आपको इतना ही करना है कि you have to just witness it. See, even I practice that. I'm not expert, neither you are expert in that. We are still practicing. It may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
But we have found out that just by reaching a certain level, you can start, gaining those results.
Absolutely.
And see a person who has reached that acme, what kind of results would be there?
Absolutely. लेकिन इसका एक फायदा ये होगा, सबसे बड़ा फायदा ये होगा इसके साथ कि जैसे कि आज हम सारी चीजें प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं तो हमें हो सकता है कि हमें रिजल्ट 100% नहीं मिले रिजल्ट, लेकिन हमारी जो प्रॉब्लम है ना वो 50% कम हो जाएगी, कभी 30% कम हो जाएगी, कभी 70% रह जाएगी, लेकिन हमको वी विल लर्न हाउ टू लिव आवर लाइफ. सो देयर इज नो परफेक्ट रिजल्ट. Every situation is different situation, every problem is a different problem. Sometimes you may get 80% relief, sometimes you may get 80% 20% relief. It might be there, but you will be able to learn how to lead your life. So यही तो important है बस.
That's very correct. So stabilizing your mind is going to be possible once you understand that first you must know what you're going to do and why you're going to do that, right? And then you also know that there are no free lunches in this world, right? So you have to make sure that you really want to gain it. And then you will start stabilizing a mind through some meditation practices and through some there are different kinds of meditations in Zen philosophy. There are wall gazing and certain other things, right? Suppose you're doing anything, suppose we are having this discussion right now, and we are totally into it. It's a kind of meditation,
right?
But mind starts somewhere else, and we are thinking of somebody else. I think we cannot have a good conversation. So meditation has got different forms. What form you like, what form works for you according to your desires and your capabilities and abilities, you have to decide and then practice it. And then
romanticism is one of those themes which is basically described and explained in a book, Sophie's World. So before, after enlightenment, there was a phase of romanticism. What it means is that actors, singers, and artists, start surfacing. And for them, it was difficult to understand those very difficult philosophy of Kant. No one, I mean, not every person is intellect or intellectual to understand this very deep, complex philosophy. And you are telling them to read that philosophy, and only then you will reach to that God, or you will be enlightened.
So they should be open to that first.
So what we can do with these people? So these people are really intelligent. They said that if my mind is not designed to understand that complex philosophy, does it mean that I will always be separated from that very feeling of peace, that eternal peace? No. So what they said is that why can't we practice this romanticism? What it means is that when you put yourself into a practice of art, it could be singing, it could be writing,
Painting
it could be painting, it could be dancing, it could be anything. And you do that in such a way that you find yourself completely busy,
you
and you
immerse
forget
yourself in that.
Absolutely, completely immersed. You forget everything what lies around you. You are completely blind and oblivious to your surrounding experiences.
This is called kind of a devotion.
Devotion.
Yeah.
This is exactly a devotion.
Yeah.
So you have two forms of
You
devotion.
forget the entire world
Yes.
around you, and you are immersing yourself completely in that. You might have seen those performers whenever they go on the stage, they close their eyes when they perform because they just want to immerse in the ocean of that feeling.
That the feelings, right?
And then they bring those emotions.
And they have the same. I mean, they have the same experience what an intellectual or the philosopher or the saint may have through their processes. There is no difference between them.
Yeah. So stabilizing your mind is all about practice. You have to practice, and once you commit yourself to practicing, I think it may take some time, but you will always find yourself in a situation where you can say that now my mind is focused and I'm able to focus on the things I'm doing. Next thing which we have to talk about is now let's talk about reading because we have observed it ourselves that reading gives you a lot of experience because we in the last or I think maybe some videos we talked about that whenever you read somebody's work, you are kind of meeting with them because this is the person's whole life's experience and you are reading that experience of theirs. So it's a kind of meeting with them. So you are you've got your own experience, you are learning somebody else's experience, so you are doubling on your experience, right? So this is going to take your knowledge, your this can even multiply your abilities, right? So this is what I'm asking you. Then how can we elevate ourselves through readings?
Okay, I always say to people, to my colleagues, whenever they get opportunity for traveling, they must pick it up with a drop of a hat. Because traveling can be a great teacher. and it could really help you accumulate vast experience of your life, and you be more confident than ever. But it is not possible in all scenarios, because sometimes traveling requires money. It requires some little bit freedom and liberty, freedom from responsibilities too. So it is not equally shared with all categories of people. Average or middle class people cannot have this very experience of traveling. They can do, but not that. Now, what else is left to them as an opportunity, as a recurse, is that reading. So I always say that if you cannot travel the world, just travel the mind of people. See, people have understood this entire life, this entire universe from the different, standpoint. And remember, all these standpoints are not same as ours. See, sometimes we have to be more keen than we require to be to understand a subtle thing in our life. And once we understand these subtle things, our 90% of misery is absolutely gone, vanished. And it is only possible with only limited number of people, because they have understood the life with the closed eyes, scanning it, that they have almost 90% minimized their suffering. Therefore we call them saint, therefore we call them Gautam Buddha, therefore we call them some gurus. So therefore it is said that why we should not pick their books, their ideas, which is available, right? Once you read that books or these ideas, we learn how we can implement in our routine life, and how we can gain the same results what they have got. Remember, your reading may not give you the result which you seek, just to meet up with your comparison mode with some of your colleagues who have just got some some good cars, good bungalows right nearby you. It may not be helpful to gain that. Yeah, there are some business based books. Many businessmen have just I mean have written that books. You can purchase those, but I am talking a little bit bigger in a sense. So these books really may help you to overpower all these things which we are I think trapped, right? So reading helps you in that way. Once you read book, you mold your personality, you become confident. Secondly, you know what clarity of matter means to people. People suffer not because of they are poor, not because of they don't have things or the resources. Most of them people suffer because of they don't have thought clarity. Because once you have thought clarity, you will have a guts to accept even the most difficult phase of your life. And you will overcome this your own without taking help of others. Because you will learn then that you have this life which belongs to you only. It doesn't have to go to anyone. And you have to use it, cultivate it, and practice it according to what exactly you want from your life. So these books really help a lot. Yes.
So when you read, you're open to different perspectives,
Obviously.
right? Because now, if I talk about myself, so I've got my own perspective. I cannot think from different angles possible until or unless I get to know about somebody other aspects of life, some other perspectives of life. So when I start reading somebody's work, then I also get to know that life can also be viewed in this particular, in this particular aspect, right? Next thing I want to ask you is, as we have talked about reading, we've been reading a lot. We've been, I'm a voice reader. You're also a voice reader. But it's a kind of, borrowed wisdom.
Yeah, right.
Because we have borrowed this wisdom from somebody else. Don't you think that we should also develop our own philosophy?
Right.
So what is your view on that?
That's absolutely right. In fact, this is very, very important, and this is what is very significant. We often miss this. So we claim to be a certain authority just after reading 2 or 3 books of some great writers, and we behave in the same manner the way the writer did. But we forget that the wisdom we are talking about is completely borrowed wisdom.
Yeah. What is ours then?
And what is ours then? Secondly, what you call wisdom is basically designed or is basically narrated in a book only capturing a one particular experience belonging to one personality,
This is
one
kind of
individual.
information.
This is just an information, right? Secondly, it is just associated and affiliated with one individual's experiences, right? How he set in, I'm talking about the author, how he has perceived the life, how he has perceived political, social, economical conditions around him, is basically the narration, everything in the book. What is yours then? So does it mean that we have to stop reading books? Or does it mean that we have to start writing books and then reading books? See, I have to say one thing very clearly. We have to be taking the very middle path in this. No one should stop reading book. Books will always be there for you. But you have your conscious as other person has. The author has the conscious. Author wants to read you certain thing. It might be helping to reach him to access his objective. But if you are a voracious reader, if you are a very open-minded reader, and if you read with active consciousness, you'll be able to capture those things.
Yes.
Means between the lines.
Yes, you have to read between the lines.
Right.
Yes.
See, so you may have the conclusion of the author in your book, but how do you want to conclude it in your way depends on you. So I say always that you can read books as many as you want, because we have to read books, by the way. If we don't read books, I think we'll be wasting our time, right? Our experiences, our understanding about the universe might not be that much, correct as these people had. So they have designed everything in simple words.
And they have devoted the whole life to
They
this.
have devoted their, so
to
why
the-
we should
to-
not
to-
take
to this
benefit?
discovery, right?
Why we should not take benefits out of their devotions, right? So we should at least be doing little justifications to this.
For example, a teacher does a lot, does a lot of work, right? Hard work, you can say, and everything he's preparing everything. He's doing research, then he's making things simple for the students. And what are the students gaining? They're simply they have access to all those researches, to all that hard work which a teacher has put in. So if a student is really learning sincerely from the teacher, it means this is going to be easy for them. Right. In the similar fashion, if we are reading books, then those people have put in hard work. Those people have really discovered so many things. They went and they traveled different places. They talked to many people. They saw things very very minutely. They observe very minutely, and then they put the whole thing into their books, and that this is accessible to us. And now we are able to read that. So yeah, you said it right, that we should be reading, because somewhere it is good. It is the gist of the whole life. The gist of the whole man's experience was written in it, right? But at the same time, we should also be learning what we can get out of it. Right.
See, this is very clear. Reading is that what depends on you. How do you read? So if you read neutrally, which means that
Without being biased,
just throwing all the prejudices, and if you follow this practice, you are actually doing justice to your reading. But if you go on with your already planned prejudices and all partiality, that you will end up knowing and understanding things which you have decided to know. So what you have already decided to know, and you anyhow manipulate with it and make your reading to that point.
Yeah, reading cannot help you there.
Reading then cannot help
Because you've already made up your mind not to accept what's written and what somebody else is saying.
Yeah. Reading might help you. Then, I mean, that pattern of reading might help you to win debate over someone. But in your real life, you will be a great failure.
Yes,
Yes.
that's very correct. Yeah. One more thing comes to my mind, that whenever somebody tries to become successful in any you can say in any phase of their lives, or in any field of their life, be it spiritual or professional or whatever it is. So the language, the inner language they use for themselves also plays a vital role.
Right.
I mean, how do you talk to yourself? Are you talking to yourself negatively or positively? Or what kind of words you're using for yourself and for the things you're doing? This also leaves some indelible impact on you and your work and your personality. For example, if my inner world is full of negativity, no matter how hard I try to become positive, to show myself as positive, I think my whole personality will reflect that negativity which is there in me. Right. So that's why it is said that we should always be using using a language which can help us overcome all those difficulties which we have been through or which we are going through. So tell me, what is the role of language? I mean, inner language that you use for yourself, the people around, and for your own world.
I call this self-awareness. And person becomes better when his perception about self-awareness is strong. As long as you know yourself in all phases of your life while you are reacting to a certain actions of other, you are always in a better position. So if you say that you are negative inside, it is also a result of self-awareness. At least you know that you are negative inside, which means the next step from you is to anyhow practice on it and remove it anyhow, right? So you will adopt some good positive practices. You will try to experience some other, things so that your inner, what you call full of negativity, would turn out to be positive, right? So self-awareness is a language which is really, really important, according to me, because that helps us, notice what exactly you are within, right? Many people in this very chaotic, world really don't understand what self-awareness is all about. They really don't even care about self-awareness. People are working, madly. They are being crazy about things without knowing their impact on themselves, right? And at the end of the day, these practices result in a certain kind of, situations which is hard to face and encounter, right? So self-awareness is really, really important. This is exactly, according to me, is a kind of language, right? And once you do this, I think you always find yourself in a much better and strong position. Uh, these days, people are doing suicide in very increased number, right? It is often, said about these personalities that their self-awareness is little bit weaker comparing to other people, right? Possibly because they have seen the world, from others' eyes. They have experienced the things from others' eyes, right? And therefore, they are not able to, uh, cope with these kinds of growing uncopable situation, yeah, unmanageable situations, right? And they commit certain actions. If you are aware about your mood, if you are aware about your activities, if you can witness, as I talked about right in the previous part, if you can witness yourself while acting, which means you are an observer, you are witnessing everything, you are not just acting. So when you do that, you are actually doing great things, and you are not letting the impact of action on you, because both the result and the negative impact of your action, or the result of actions, are not going to spoil or make your mood delighted. So if you can do that, I think this is the bestest way to deal with this, society, to deal with this life.
So you want to say that even though, because we are ultimately we have to lead this life, we can be doing our jobs, we can be doing our business, we can be doing things, and we somewhere we are the part of this rat race. We are the part of this competition, but we should actually be aware of the actions which we are taking.
Obviously.
I mean, when you are not aware of the actions, you may be self-sabotaging yourself.
Obviously.
So these actions, when you are not aware, can turn into self-sabotaging.
Right.
Right. And then getting back from there, or regaining all those things you lose in the process, is going to be quite difficult, right? So self-awareness is really important. The next thing, and maybe maybe because we have talked a lot about the whole thing, and this is enough. If you are aware of all these things, you can easily fix what's wrong, what has gone wrong in your system. The next thing, which the last but not the least, is tell me, how can we find meaning, especially in our life, through the responsibilities? Because somewhere, whether it's the responsibility of keeping you on the right track, keeping you on the spiritual mode, or whatever it is, you need to take on the responsibility, right? At least you wanna succeed in a certain area of your life, spiritual, business, professional, whatever it is. So you have to take on the responsibility. Suppose if I want to walk the spiritual path, then I have to make up my mind. I have to take on the responsibility. If I'm not responsible enough, I can leave half the way, right? I can return from there half the way. So what is the role of responsibility to and how it can give meaning to your life?
Okay, let me explain this in my way. How do I define responsibility? Responsibilities are mostly bad experiences of human life. No one wants to embrace responsibilities. It is a bitter fact. None of us wants to embrace and meet with our responsibilities. It is our innate nature. Now, therefore, in scriptures, in various sacred granths, responsibilities and duties are put at center because they want us to realize the significance, the paramountcy of responsibilities. If we were aware of all these responsibilities and significance of the responsibilities in our life, I think we would not have these writings as compulsion, as duties in these kind of sacreds. So one thing which is clear that they are giving us this very strong message that be specific about your responsibilities and try to be a sensible, responsible person in a society. Now, one thing after this we learn after defining what responsibility is this, since it is not good experience, and what is not good experience will always help you to see the brighter part of it. As I always say to people that which is bitter will always be delighting at the end of the day. Even if you are working hard at this point of time or for last 5 years, but your next 5 years are going to be in full peace. This is true.
So nobody wants to hit the gym.
Yes, no one.
But if they want to stay fit or keep fit, and they
Absolutely.
want to have those, abs and all.
It is applicable to all forms of activities, to each aspect of human life, from our going gym to be doing hard work to be reaching to a certain position in our life. Everything is applicable here, or it is applied to every. So in this way we have to understand that. So once we understand our responsibility, which is not embraceable, which is really hardship, then we are showing this very courageous element. Remember, rarely people do that. So you are adopting a certain thing which is a part of your practice, leaving the other. So you have options. One will promise you to be living life in a more hedonistic manner, where there'll be no I think suffering, there'll be no misery. What will be there is just to fun and nothing else. On the other side, you have responsibilities. There'll be only miseries, there'll be only confusion, there'll be only problems, there'll be only crisis. There'll be no as such and a peace or a moment of peace where you could be, enjoying, right? So you have already chosen the very better aspect of your life, the very better part of your life. It shows what? It shows your maturity. It shows the very unique trait in you. Remember, the one who does that, I think, has taken the life seriously and has understood the brutal fact of a life is that the enjoyment lies in practicing what matters a lot rather than what you find is good and relishing. So even Immanuel Kant specifically talks about it on this matter, is that we must do our duty not because of we like it or not, but because it is good, right?
Yes.
So it has got nothing to do with what you like, what gives you fun, what gives you entertainment. It is what that gives you this very feeling that you have to do it because you think it's right. So this very sense of choosing what is right over what you feel good, I think itself shows your bigger character, right? And people whom we know as our true leaders, whom we worship, whom we want to be like, right, are all those having the same common trait, is that they have their life full of miseries, full of sufferings. They have 90% of suffering in their life and only 10% of the, but still they are on this very same path, and therefore they are called the shining beacons for us. On the other side, we have the section of people, which is a large number, who have enjoyed 90% of their life and they are not able to face the 10% of suffering. So this is the difference, right? So we have to understand the fact that your true life, your life, which you call a sensible life, is only in meeting up with your responsibility, because that is your reality, right? And remember, I mean, सब लोग आजकल ये ज्यादा बोलते हैं कि your pain, your suffering is what is true to you. Happiness is just a facade.
Yeah,
It is
that's
illusion,
correct. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your pain is there because 99.9% of the people, you ask them personally, how do they think about life? What is their experience? None of them going to tell you that they are really bliss, in a state of bliss. None of them going to tell you. This is a fact.
Somebody asked my guru that
Yeah.
how it feels like when you are in meditation. Do you enjoy it? So he says if you enjoy it, you're not doing meditation, right? How can you're curbing your senses? How can you experience yourself to be
Yes.
very, very comfortable? It may result after certain years of
And by the time you won't have any meaning
Hmm.
of what it gives to you in return, because I mean pleasure and happiness really don't mean a lot to these saints.
Yeah.
To highly elevated
Yeah.
and spiritual mind.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. So responsibility, taking up responsibility is important if we want to be on the path of success or spirituality or whatever it is. We have to become responsible. For example, um, when Buddha became Buddha, he took up the responsibility of
Right.
doing that.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what was the problem? He would have stayed in the same kind of
Right.
palace because he had no problem there. But he took up the responsibility of enlightening the people who he thought were somewhere going through some kind of misery.
Right.
Because when he was, mm, you must be knowing that his friend, his name was Channa. He was the son of the charioteer of his palace, you would say. And he asked because he was confined to the four walls because his father doesn't want him to see the world around because this would turn him into a saint. It was predicted right in the beginning when he was born. So then he said that I just want to see the world outside. Then he took him and then he took him out and then on while they were traveling they came across, I mean, Buddha came across many people. Like one was going with a begging bowl. He said, "What happened to this man? Why is he? And what is he doing?" He said, "He's begging alms." So in my kingdom, a person has to beg, right? Then he moved on. Then he found that some people were carrying that dead body,
Okay.
so to cremate him. So he said, "What happened to this man?" He said that he's dead. So he said that, "Will I also die?" And then, as it progressed, they found that there was a man who had wrinkles on his body, and he looked at himself. His body, his skin was supple. He said, "Would I also have wrinkles on my body?" He said, "Definitely, this is world, and this is what happens to a person when they grow old." Then he took the responsibility of finding the meaning of this life, discovering the truth of this life. Then he took the responsibility. He became who is known as Buddha. So if he hadn't taken up that responsibility, he wouldn't have become what we know him, right? So this is something which we had to talk about. I mean, if you really want to fix whatever has gone wrong in a system, whatever has gone wrong in a life, then ultimately there are certain things which you need to keep into account. And if you start working on them, nothing can stop you. But again, we always say that don't compare yourself with others because you will also always find that it'll comparison will always make you feel small.
Obviously.
Because you'll always find that there are people who are always ahead of you, and this can inculcate some kind of a sense of inferiority complex in you. So
And try to have a better thought clarity.
yeah,
Thought
you should
clarity is
be
very
clear about
important. Yes.
whatever you're gonna do and you want
Yes.
to get out of your life. But ultimately, nothing is gonna be that easy. You have to make efforts, and you have to think. You have to stay positive because positivity is something which is keeping this sky
Yeah, right.
over our heads. Otherwise, it would just come down. Right? So
Enjoy the destination more than the
the
more than the
results.
results, right?
Yeah, so you have to enjoy the whole journey, you can
Journey,
say,
yeah.
right? As we just travel by train, so we just look out of the window.
Right. That's
Right.
beautiful.
That's the only thing, which excites you.
Obviously.
Otherwise,
Who cares about the destination?
who cares about that? So
Right.
it's all about this, and then you will find that you
Hmm.
have now become really the kind of person you thought you should become. So with this, I'm just gonna take a leave, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.